We're back here, legends of professional wrestling. This week we got a big show for you. We're going to show you all the belts that are in Empire Pro Wrestling. The Ladies Championship, the New England Heavyweight Championship, the Tag Team Empire Tag Team Championship. And we're going to talk a little bit about everything this week. It's a windy day out there. I hope we all made it through the storms here in Revere. Some of the people, New York didn't go too so good, but let me tell you something. If you're looking at my hat, yeah, I am a Raiders fan. And what are you going to do about it? Nothing. So you know what? How you like that? And we got another thing we want to talk about this week. We're making a big move. We're going into a bigger spot. We're going to have bigger cameras. We got cameras everywhere. We got angles. We got everything. We got Sergio on it. We got the man that created Legends of Pro Wrestling, Mr. Rick Promise. And, of course, we have the man behind it all, Mr. Dunbar. He's the best in the West, East, North, East, and South. I tell you one thing, I've seen a guy at it before, but not like this. He's down the beach. He's over here with the Society Club. He's downstairs with the Sandcastles. He's over here with me. He's here, there, he's everywhere. I hope he had a nice lunch, but let's get back to the belts. Now, these belts that you see here are the oldest section belts here in New England. There's a lot of belts here. They're all handmade by, guess who? Rocky Raymond, the Boston Bad Boy, the real deal, the only Boston Bad Boy. Tony Rumble, God rest his soul. As you can see, these glasses right here are the original Boston Bad Boy glasses. That's right. We started doing ICW. We traveled all over with the Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Caracas, South America, Canada, Puerto Rico, and I tell you, we went everywhere. Tony was a great guy. He had it up in his head. Psychologically, he could do it, but physically, I took all the bumps. And a few people know what taking all the bumps mean. I took the backdrops. I took the arm drag, the hip toss, one tackle drop down, get it again. You know what I mean, Daddy? As you can see, front and center, we got the Yellow Tiger has made a return to pro wrestling. The Yellow Tiger has come back after a lengthy absence. Since July 1st, he made his way to, I believe, Woonsocket, Rhode Island. We had some stuff taken out of the dressing room. And one person I want to dedicate this show to is Mrs. Patricia Ann Sternfeld. She surprised me on my birthday. I was all frantic about my mask being missing. The suit's fine. We can get that one made up by my friend El Macarado. You might have seen him on TV. You might have seen him on some of my shows. He's on all my shows, actually. And he's going to get the bottom part made because he had a nice suit on. And we got a show coming up in Lynn when we did the Lynn show at St. Michael's Hall. We're going to go back there when things settle down. And a lot of things to talk about. As far as WWE, I don't talk about that. If you want to talk about Lucha Libre, CMLL, and we have AAA going on. We got a new thing up in Maine, New Hampshire called NWA on Fire, which my tag team champions are up there ripping up the area. Pyro and the Highlight Kid, you might have seen them on some of the fair matches. Now next year, I got big surprises coming. Big, and you better believe it. You better believe it, because you're with the Boston Bad Boy, Rocky Raymond. Often imitated, but never duplicated. Not in this lifetime. And we're also looking for the next summer season, Miss Empire Pro Wrestling 2013. Now, they say 13 is not a good number, but I'm looking for a good number. So anyone that wants to get in touch with Empire Pro Wrestling, look us up at Empire Pro, WRES, at AOL.com, I believe. I'm not a computer person, but you can switch it. You can do whatever you can. If you want to be Miss Empire Pro Wrestling, you got a good shape, and I'm not talking about, like, Anything that you look halfway decent, we'll put you in there. One of our shows, we're going to be at the Big E this year. The Big E, Springfield. We're going to be back at Marshfield. We had a 5-year run. They took a year off, and we gave Mr. Carlton up there a nice plaque for the 5-year run we had. And I talked to the Sheik recently. He might be coming back to sign some autographs, the Iron Sheik. As you can see him on the table here, a picture of him showing the legendary ring, the Hall of Fame ring, and of course I was showing him my ring, and I was trying to get a switch off, but you see him guys showing them each other the ring, and I said, Sheik, I'll let you have my ring if I'll let you have the Hall of Fame. He said, no way, Rocky. This is the Hall of Fame ring. Mean very, very much to me. Those diamonds on your finger don't mean nothing. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. I can vouch for that. And again, I want to thank Patty again, and better known as the Boston Bad Girl in these areas. Very great ladies professional wrestler, not the diva, not a skeezer, not all these girls that are showing their bodies off. This girl put you in the Chinese with the rear naked choke and put her legs around your waist from behind. You're not getting out of it, because I can tell you right now, she had it on me and I couldn't get out. And I can get out a couple of good moves, because as you well know, I've started out in the business with Gypsy Joe from Chelsea. From there, I went to Killer Kowalski's tag team partner as the Executioner. And we also want to thank Sean down there at the taxi place down there, picking up the Sheik for us, driving us around, and he couldn't make it. He was supposed to be our guest, but he's got a conference call, and business first, pleasure later. And this economy, you got to keep it coming while it's coming. And like me, I like to get it, and I spend it as fast as I get it. You know why? Because you never know what's going to happen. You got all the problems in the world now. You got Syria, you got this place, you got Israel, you got all these Afghanistan problems, you got all these problems with the storms. You get up in the morning, I have a hard time getting up in the morning as it is. I look in the mirror, you wrestle anymore? I wrestle. I wrestle every morning. I get up and look at the mirror. I wrestle with my conscience every morning. That's a battle in itself. But getting back to these beautiful belts, these aren't the casted belts. I was making these belts way before they came out in the magazines. And a couple of people getting them off the line off me at the shows or whatever, and would make the belt style the way you want to make it. But as you know now, you go on the internet and they got all these belt makers, pick your pieces, all that stuff. But I was making these belts way, way before the internet, way, way before the situation with the Mr. Joe Gullet, all new upholstery down there, Peabody, wherever he might be right now. He might be in his little basement down there below his shop there, that little secret hiding place he has. He might play hokey pokey. But anyways, getting back to this belt right here, this is the New England Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, the oldest sanctioned belt in New England. I won this belt way back, I think it was 79 or 78 at a fair, 3-day fair with the promoter was Jack Viles, I believe, with Gypsy Joe. Held the belt for a long time, and then I got defeated, and some of the great names that have held that belt, Axe Demolition, the Warlord, Astro Man from the Dominican Republic, who else? Ronnie D, the Star Warrior. Not the Star, he was some kind of star or something to that effect. And then we got the new belt right next to it, which is now the New England Championship, because this belt don't go nowhere. This is my belt. Nice weight, nice felt over here. This was made by a gentleman that was working at All New Upholstery named Charlie. God rest his soul, because he was the best. He was the best sewer. He did a lot of things, and all these snaps and all these rivets are all put in handmade. It's all brass, all heavy, heavy brass. It's not a casted belt, but to me, these have more style. Like those belts over there, I got an idea by watching that movie, The Gangsters, on The Gangsters, the Kings, that gang called The Kings. So I got those king crowns. I put them in the middle of the belt, and then you got the other things that go around it. Just a lot of work to make up belts. I mean, you got to remember all those holes got to be drilled perfectly. The ladies' championship belt, a very, very nice belt with the white leather. I think that's white snakeskin, I believe. Joe Gully, he's got more skins than you can turn. But I guess when you're doing upholstery, you turn like the skin that you're selling. He's got more skins. He's got the motorcycle seats. He keeps it complete. And getting back to Sean, my buddy down there at the taxi, he gets all those guys going from the airport. I want to thank him again for picking up such great names as the Sheik. As well as he came down, he picked up Axe Demolition for me from the airport, and a couple other guys, and we wish that he could have made it, but it's a very, very windy and cold day out there. We made it through another storm. It wasn't too bad, and we're hoping to get back on track here, and the big, big news is Revere TV, new location, so if you want to come down, call up Serge, call up anyone that's here, Rick Promise, as well as Mr. Dunbar, all these great, great places. We're going downstairs, bigger, bigger, bigger area, and they've done unbelievable. If you can see the setup that I'm right now, I'm really like unbelievable. They look like space things looking at me, but they're cameras. I can't believe these cameras they got. They got these new cameras in there. And if you want to come down and do a show about cotton candy, a cooking show, I might even do a cooking show myself, because I make a pretty good, mean butternut squash with the marshmallows on the top, or the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on the top, and I'm a pretty good cook too, so I might even do a cooking program. You never know. Hey, trying to get down there in the weight, it's a very hard battle. Everyone's battling the weight. The holidays are coming. The birds are humming. I can't wait for a piece of chocolate cheesecake and what have you. Let's get back to the wrestling now. The wrestling, we got some great things going on in Puerto Rico right now with some of the great names are there. Calito, Calito Caribbean Cruise there. Carlos Colon's son. I was up here at an independent show with, took my friend Andy and his grandchild and his other friend Peter, and we went to the Lewis Center at Mass Ave, I believe it is. What a beautiful building they have there. What a beautiful track. You would never think you'd take the Mass Ave exit and see this great building that they have for the kids in Roxbury. Unbelievable track. And they had the Ultimate Warrior there, and they had a couple of big names there, as well as the Sandman. Virgil was there. I talked to him for a while. You know, I wrestled Virgil back in the day, as well as Raven was there. And those guys, I tell you, they're still going strong and taking the bumps that they're taking. Recently, I was talking to the Sheik on the phone, the Iron Sheik, and he's doing well. We're trying to get him to come back up for Marshfield and the Big E. We're hoping to do. We got a couple of fairs up in New Hampshire and Maine this year, so we're going to have a busy summer, hopefully. You know, we keep it going. And we are looking for Miss Empire Pro Wrestling 2013. If you got a bathing suit, if you got hot pants, if you got anything, then just write in, type in, whatever you want to do on Empire Pro Res, WRES, at AOL.com, I believe. Like I said, I'm not a computer person. I have a hard time, you know, doing things with the, getting the card with a friend of mine last night. We're going up to the mall, and she puts the phone on, and it's directing you go left, go right, go up, go down, all these bells and whistles. Me, I'm a simple guy. I like to stay at home with my two little dogs and watch a couple of things on TV. And Revere, they made it through the storm. Great, great things are happening here in Revere, we hope. We got a new mayor, and we seen all the inserts with Mr. Tom Ambasino when I awarded him one half of the tag team championship belts right there. He has the belts, and I want to say hi to Tom if he's watching, because we're on Legends of Pro Wrestling. That's right. We're on from 8 to 9, 9 to 10. You got the best of the best. Do it all over again on Saturday morning from 12 to 1. Have some fun. Hey, it's Rocky Raymond, the Boston bad boy, coming to you directly from Revere TV, your source of community cable right here. I want you to watch the best of Empire Pro Wrestling, and I want you to watch the Legend show on from 8 to 9, and then go from 9 to 10 and watch the best of the best with who? The Boston bad boy, Rocky Raymond, with the real New England title. This is not a replica belt that you buy in the magazine, so I want you to watch it each and every week. Keep it complete. We're going large right here. I used to have a girl. When I met her, she was a hot tamale. Now she looks like a bologna sandwich. So watch us each and every week. Keep it complete. Be there. Big, big stuff. I got some new stuff I found. Bruno Sammartino and a tag team partner against Tony Altamori and Lou Albano in black and white. Going back to, the 30s, I think, the 40s. I don't know. Bruno started in 63, I believe. He put Buddy Rogers in the backbreaker, Madison Square Garden. Put him up there, 63 seconds. It was all over. A tutti italiani, as he used to say. But I want to talk a little bit about this right here. This was one of the first shows, the only show, at, I believe, Fenway Park. First wrestling show ever, which was Bruno Sammartino in a Sicilian stretcher match against my mentor, Killer Kowalski. I just want to run down the card history, and you can see this is both signed by Bruno and Killer Kowalski, of course, because you know I got all the memorabilia. I got it all. I got it all down pat. I got it all down. If you want it, you can get it, but you can't get it from me because I got it all. Okay, the main event, of course, was the showdown. It was a stretcher match between Bruno Sammartino and Killer Kowalski. Now, back in those days, when they hit you with a chair, they only hit you one time. Because you know why? They made it one time good. They used a wooden chair, and at this particular time, Kowalski, you might have seen the picture on my shows a million times. I showed the picture of Bruno smashing him with the chair. They held the chair square, straight on to the head, flush to the face, one time. That was believable. 6, 7, 8 shots with a chair, you'd have to be a moron to believe. I mean, those chair shots that they're taking now, if you go ECW, you better believe it. And you better believe it right now, because I'm telling you, they were hitting them hard and hitting them deep, because they were trying to prove something to the other wrestling organizations at that time, that ECW was the best, the craziest, all the misfits. But back in the day of Abe Ford Promotions, where you've seen these films that were taken, I sat in section 88, not row A, row double A. That was where they had the cameras for the hockey games on one side. And Abe Ford used to get me the tickets, and of course we get that little program in the mail, folded up 3 ways. But the rest of this card, the Steel Cage Spectacular that night, after the stretcher match, was the original Sheik, Eddie Farhat, which was Sabu from ECW's uncle. And he wrestled Dick the Bulldog Brower. You know, Brower Power, I don't know many of you guys go back to Bulldog Brower. He had some huge, huge legs, and he actually was really in the KKK. He was no joke. Thank God I never wrestled Dick the Bulldog Brower. The guy that really cleaned my clock in Florida was Angelo Mosca. He whipped me into the corner, did the football tackle, knocked the wind out of me, and I was looking up at the lights, the TV lights, and that was probably the toughest guy I ever got in the ring with. And Mark Lewin was another one. But these guys are all real wrestlers. There's not these guys that put the boots on. They buy a pair of boots at high spot or high jump or high low, whatever it's called. They buy a pair of tights and boots, and they think they're a pro wrestler. They wrestle 4 or 5 times a year. If you're a real wrestler, you have to wrestle 360, 365 days sometimes. When I was on the circuit, I wrestled Florida, I wrestled Georgia, Charlotte, NWA, the real NWA, not the club wrestling, not that foolishness that you're going all the way up to Maine, NWA on fire and getting $40 in a hotel room by the time you go and eat and come back. And I believe it's on cable TV. I'm not even sure if it's real TV. Or it's something about on the internet you can catch it also. But that's with the Savoldis, Mario Savoli, which I can't believe he's still running shows. But hey, when it's in your blood, it's in your blood. It's running down, it's running through, it's going through you all the way, and it's either all the way or no way. And getting back to the spectacular at Fenway Park, Abe Ford promotion, then we had a 10-man battle royal. I got to lift up my Boston Bad Boy glasses because Professor Toro Tanaka was in the ring. Haystack Calhoun was in the ring. Tony Altamori was in that battle royal. Mitsu Awakawa, John L. Sullivan, who later became Handsome. No, that was the other one, Handsome Jimmy Valiant. Luscious Johnny V became the Valiant Brothers. Then you had Crazy Luke Graham. They used to get in the ring and they'd chant his name and they'd put his hands over his ears and flap his blonde hair around from side to side. And every time they'd say Crazy Luke, he'd play the crowd. And then we had also Dominic Danucci, my paisano, Dominico. And then, of course, you had Lou Albano, Duke Savage, and least but not last, from the Isle of Malta, Baron Mikel Cicluna. No matter where you hit that guy, if you hit him in the stomach, he'd hold his ear. You hit him in the leg, he'd hold his ear. You hit him somewhere else, he'd still hold his ear. That was his thing. He'd hold his ear every time you hit him. And on the undercard, the next match was Victor Rivera against George the Animal Steele. Yep, George Steele. I could probably pass as his younger son. They were trying to do that with King Albert, but it didn't go too good. Or as known as Baldo, and then he had several names, Freight Train, Baldo. Now he's back doing this gimmick, and now he's jobbing again. And I think he's just about out, because once you start jobbing, that means you're on your way down, had a bad attitude in the dressing room, something didn't work, something didn't click. So it's back to Japan. There's more money in Japan anyways. You don't have to take that Malak from Vince McMahon, because if he tells you to wear brown shoes and you wear black, guess what? It's all over, call it a day. Because he's got the money, and it's okay. When you get the money, you get the power. When you get the power, you get everything. That's what it is. That's how you become a powerful person like Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, and a couple other people. All right, we had the girls on here. It just says a 6 ladies tag match, and back then they didn't even advertise the name. That's how important the girls were. Same thing with the midgets. 6 midgets in a tag match. They didn't care. They didn't advertise it. And the tickets at that time were $3, $4, $5, $7.50, and the sabak, which is $10, was the big price. And it was at Fenway Park Saturday, June 28th. The show starts at 8 p.m. and the doors open at 6 p.m. And if anyone knows the date, I'm not going to give the date, but if anyone writes into the cable station here, or they go to Empire Pro Wrest at AOL.com, I will give them an autographed picture of Bruno Sammartino. You can mail in you tell me the date and it's right, I will send you a picture of Bruno Sammartino signed. The man behind the belt, the foundation of professional wrestling, Bruno Sammartino. He put the pavement down. You have to put the gravel down, you compact the dirt, what comes down next? The pavement. And Bruno laid it all down for guys like Hulk Hogan. Brutus the Barber Beefcakes. They're not having too good of a time, those two, with that book that Hogan's wife come out with. Oh, Marona mia. Get a copy of that book, because I can't do it on this show. Tell you the things that have gone on. And I want to let everyone know, especially people down in Woonsocket, the Yellow Tiger has returned. The Yellow Tiger, you can see that mask of the Yellow Tiger. He's back better than ever. He'll be at all the shows. He's coming straight in from Mexico City. He's traveling all over the warm climates, because, these Mexican guys, they like it warm. When they're eating those tacos and they're having that, whatever they're having, they want it warm. They want to keep it nice. We're having bad weather around here. It's cold out today. Brrr. Winter has come. We had a great summer here in Revere Beach. And talk about Revere Beach, I got some great snapshots of that new bridge. I want to thank all those guys that made it possible, with all the grants or whatever they got. They got the bridge that looks like the new one in Boston. Now we got one in Revere. And a lot of state troopers around, so you see your safety belts on. Be back, folks. But anyways, keep your safety belts on. You got a lot of state troopers on here in Revere now, and they'll get you. You got to be safe if you're driving around. I know people are dropping off their kids at the soccer. You got to pick up the other one, go to baseball. Baseball's all over. The football's, I don't know if it's in or out. Then you got the hockey now. I don't know. There's so many things. When I was a kid, I played buck. Anyone play buck? Yeah, buck. You know that game. You got the legs, you line up, you jump on the back. I played king queen. I played bottle cap. We played wiffle ball. We played half ball. We used to get the little pimple balls, cut them in half, hit them with the stick. We played half ball. And played a lot of things here in Revere. Revere's a great town, great city. Winthrop's a great town also. We got a good surrounding towns here. I mean, you look at some of the things that are going on in Boston and Roxbury. You'll be glad that you're here in Revere with the safety of our great police force that we have here, and all the great retired cops. And I want to say a holler out to my friend Chris, who's on the traffic. The man does a phenomenal job with the traffic. Now they want him to go around and read a meter about if your air conditioner is too loud in the summer. You got these kids playing in the garage, playing in the guitars and drums. Would you rather have them on the streets doing beanies and selling drugs, or would you rather have them playing the guitar in the garage, under, being in a nice area, or would you rather have them become drug dealers in Revere and other places? And I'm not going to really say, but Revere, especially that Reddings, it was the biggest drug trafficking place in Revere. And I'm really surprised because many of you people know who owned it. I don't want to really get into that, but all the Spanish, and there'd be cops right in there at the bar, and they'd be in the bathroom doing the gimmick right in the bathroom, and I don't understand it. But thank God they closed it down, they cut it off. I remember that little guy that used to be down on the bottom there in the corner in that dirty cellar, little skinny guy, doing the payroll, doing the things for his family, a little skinny guy, a little runt, and not a runt no more. And basically, I worked there at Reddings back in the day with Fifi and my friend Eric Baldessari. I bounced there, and we kept everything cool, calm. We go out for a drink. But now, you can't go out and drink, drunk driving. Make sure you keep your safety belt on, like I said. Let's get back to wrestling. Part of the program we call wrestling here. We're separating the wrestling from being a profession to being entertainment. Now, I flip it on. I'm not going to tell you I don't. I flip through it if I catch it, and if I don't. By the time they get done going through the first 20 minutes, And if a lady that comes out and says, "Excuse me," gets more heat than any heel on the show by saying one word, something's wrong with the people that are writing the writers. I don't know if they're writing for Kellogg's or they're writing for, but the writers aren't doing that great with the storylines. I mean, they got some great guys. They should be doing some better storylines. And like I said, I talked to Luke the Bushwhacker. He's wrestling out in Puerto Rico for the World Council out there, the World in Puerto Rico. And he dyed his hair black, and I gotta hand it to him. Luke the Bushwhacker, he's still going strong. As long as the day is long, we want to wish him a great, successful return. He was sick there for a while. Luke, we're glad that you're back. You're on the road again. You're on the road again. And I want to say a holler out to my friend Dominic in New York. Has the hotline. If you want to call a great hotline, if you're a wrestling fan, 212-629-1900. He'll tell you the birthdays, tell you what's going on. He'll ring the bell if someone dies 10 times. And we had Richard Burns, who passed away last month, very, very suddenly, very, very young age, very, very successful in karate with the karate schools. And we had on last week on Empire Pro Wrestling, or maybe a couple weeks back, Richard Burns, Superstar Burns, Master Burns. He was a great guy, very, very straight as far as the business goes. He did a lot of ring rentals for me. I want to thank him for that, or thank the uppers. I know he's going to go to a good place because he was a good guy. No nonsense, paid the guys to come in, did a nice clean show. And I want to thank him for all the times he rented my steel cage, as well as the first time I had my steel cage built. It was back, I forget what year, I'm not good with years, but it was at the Malden High School, and the main event was Richard Superstar Burns against none other than the Dr. D. David Schultz. No fun needed with that guy. He was telling you, no fun. I tell you, he was a serious guy. You didn't talk down to him, and reindeer milk and animal crackers you didn't fool around with him, because he was a no-nonsense guy. I believe he's like the bounty hunter, he does that bounty hunting stuff now. But a lot of these guys that were in professional wrestling back in the day were men, not like these. You see a lot of these guys that are on these local shows. And talking about local shows, getting back to that show in Mass Ave at I believe it's the Louis, Louis, whatever it is down there, or Mass Ave. What a beautiful building they got. It's too bad they don't have something like that for the kids in Revere. You know, when I was growing up, my mother made paintbrushes. My father was absentee. And the worst day of my life was Flag Day, because everyone else's parents were there. And, of course, my mother was working, and I was there Flag Day all by myself, except for the second grade when I stayed back. And they said, you can stay home that day because you're going to repeat the second grade. Mrs. Silverman, if you remember. I remember all my teachers. Mrs. Simon. In the Walcott, we had Mr. Marisolo, Mrs. Nazaro, and she'd tell you about history. Now, what do you people think about Obama? Obama's back in action for another 4 years. You want Obama? You got Obama. You got him back again. I want to see him go. I want to see him go down and get boogie-woogie. Never mind all this, this light stuff. I want to see him go hard. I want to see him go hard like Reagan, Nixon. You want to point, you want to do things, just direct it at him. And I got to tell you, this country's not in great shape. You got to watch out for Syria. You got to watch out for these people, They're saying Iran, watch out for them people. Hey, watch out. They don't know where it is. They could have that bomb underneath their pillowcase. You never know. But in this day, in this age, people, enjoy your life every day. You try to be nice to your fellow friends. I got a couple left. And, it's really at a bad time. But we're going to hope for Obama to do pretty good, because I think they should have made a tag team. Romney and Obama do a tag team, and they'll get more done as a tag team because they can help each other. But they're going to go to the Senate. I don't want to talk a lot about politics because I'm not really inclined to. I know about the electoral vote, and they got the circle and the vote, the Congress. And just like Hulk Hogan, he only wore the belt. Vince McMahon, he's the one that wrote it all down on the paper and said, this is that, that is this. Matter of fact, as I'm sitting here right now, I was back at my house on 24/7, and I'm taping the Rise and Fall, or the Undestructible, Self-Destructible Ultimate Warrior, where he self-destructed himself. And getting back to that show, like I said, I'm jumping around here because I got a lot going through my mind. It was like a switch. They baited the people in, then they switched it up. Now, on the TV ads that I saw on Raw, and they had it on SmackDown. It didn't say that the Ultimate Warrior was going to wrestle, but it didn't say that he wasn't going to wrestle. So I think that's a bait and switch situation going on. And they had a package going on, and not the packages that they sold at Randon's either. Package means that a package is that you stand in line, you get one picture with the Ultimate Warrior, you get a single picture, you get a picture with them, and buy the doll. If you got the whole package, $100 bill. Can you believe it? And he had a line, and we were on Mass Ave in Roxbury, and there wasn't, they say it was a bad area, but I tell you, a lot of these areas, they're cleaning them all up. What a beautiful building they have there for these kids. I was sitting in the bleachers, a couple of people noticed me, and as a matter of fact, the girl that was selling some masks for one of the wrestlers remembered my show from North Conway. Some of you people might have saw the North Conway show we did when the Boston Bad Girl broke the arm of Brandy Alexander. And I'm not talking about the drink, the Brandy Alexander. I'm talking about the lady wrestler. She jumped off the top rope and reached for the mat, snapped her hand, bada boom, and the Boston Bad Girl snap made her, hooked her, 1, 2, 3. It was a very short championship match, but North Conway is a great area up there also. They're getting that snow up there probably, and people like skiing. Getting back to these belts, we got them all right here. We got belts from here, we got belts from there. We got the tag team belts. We got the ladies championship belt. And you got the one going down the arm. I made that belt for, at the time, my girlfriend. That's the Postal Belt. See that? They got the post office eagle on there. She traveled with the mailman. She was a mail lady. She did it for a while. She did it with a smile. And, you get a good job with the state, don't hesitate. But like I said, many, many great things to come here at Revere TV. And a lot of great things going on in Revere. These casinos, we'll see if they do good, if they do bad, when they get them, how the traffic's going to be. I know these people that are going home, the shortcutters to go down the beach, down the Limway. That's all clogged up like a bad toilet bowl. So you better get some good plumbers because it's going to be rough. It's another 3 years down the line. I'm getting up to that area where I might be a senior citizen before that casino comes in, and I'll get a senior citizen rate. But most of all, we want to try to get in the door and see if we can entertain you with some of my new wrestlers that we have that have come in from Mexico that are looking to wrestle. We got Mini Mascaras, Mini Mil Mascaras. We have we can't really call them Mini Mil Mascaras, so we call them Mini Masca, shorten it because they're short. Then we got the Clown, Mini the Clown. And we got another couple of new names coming in. And we have the Yellow Tiger that's back. They thought they cut us off, but I got this package in the mail. And it came from a girlfriend of mine who helps me out quite immensely. And I don't think I'm ever going to throw this paper out because when I got it, one person knows how to get to me emotionally, and it was an emotional thing when I got this in the mail because in the dressing room, you don't steal stuff. I mean, Ric Flair, he used to put his Rolex, I'm sure he still does. He'd take his Rolex off, put it on the bench, and no one would touch his stuff because if you stole anything in the dressing room, believe me, if they caught you, you'd be in big trouble. I've seen some beefs, IBW Hall, Ron Slinker, he thought he was a karate judo, bada bing, bada boom. He tried to go up against Big Black Jack Mulligan. That didn't come out too good. They went outside. Big Black Jack Mulligan came back with his big hand. He had blood on it. I said, oh boy, someone got the worst of that situation. You don't tell Black Jack Mulligan what to do, when to do, and how to do it. And some of the great names in wrestling that have since had to retire. Edge, he was a great performer, and he had the neck injury. And you got Stone Cold, of course, who's not going to get back in the ring anytime soon because he wants to spend some of his cash. He's got a new show coming out on TV, some kind of show, on a reality show. And then we also have Kurt Angle, who's really, by the edge of the sword because he has a neck injury, and they went in for the front. They went in from the front to get him. So neck injuries are very, very bad. I used to do behind-the-neck presses with 315. I had Tony Atlas on the card July 1st at the St. Michael's Hall, and was comparing some of the old pictures of me and him, and he said, how did you get your traps that big? I mean, my traps were enormous back in the day, and Of course, those were the days of the steroids. Those were the days of where Vince McMahon would only hire the big guys that were huge, and like Putski and some of those other guys, Orndorff, some of the other big names, Quick Draw McGraw. He was a short guy, but he was stocky, and you can't mix steroids with extracurricular activity. You know what I'm saying? You can't do speedball and steroids because you have a heart attack. And that's how a lot of these guys died. And then a lot of things too. The muscle relaxer called Soma, they get them out of Mexico, and a couple of guys have gone that way too. Spicoli, he swallowed his own tongue. He fell asleep, and your tongue, actually, the muscles in your tongue, you get so relaxed. He swallowed his tongue, and there's been another couple instances with a lot of deaths in wrestling. If you look up how many people have died in the last, say, 5 years, it's got to be over 200 wrestlers, whether it be independent stars or the big names or what have you. It's some of the guys that are still going at it now that are legends. There's not too many. I stay in touch with Demolition, Axe Demolition. Of course, I talk to the Sheik, a lot. Luke the Bushwhacker, and a couple other guys, and of course the Mexican stars. I have my Mexican voiceover. Contact them in Mexico City because they're always traveling. They're here, there, they're everywhere. But I got a big array of professional wrestling coming at you. And if you have seen all the fair shows, we only bring in the legends of professional wrestlers. We don't bring in Jack and Jill ran up the hill to get a glass of water or a bucket of water. Jack and Jill went up the hill. They had $2.50 each. Jill came down with $5. You know what that means, don't you? Well, whatever. Getting back to these great belts. These are the great belts. It took me a lot of time. I am very talented. I'm a great artist. I designed all these belts, and I had a lot of belts that I had sold. A lot of belts throughout the times. And these two belts here, this one and the other one, this one here don't go nowhere no more. It stays in my house with me. And the other one is the new New England tag belt. New New England championship belt, which is the other one right next to this, which is right now the current champion is, I believe, I'm trying to think who the last one was. I'm going to say Dale Wilkes is he's the mask guy there, but he's not I can't tell you right now. I got to look at my booking sheet because the champion, I believe, was the last one on the fair. We had the Battle Bowl. He won the Battle Bowl championship, and I really can't remember off the tip of my tongue. I can't get my tongue. Can you believe it? Well, you better believe it because you're with the Boston bad boy, Rocky Raymond. You remember, we got the best shows going. We got the best footage. We got the vaults. We got all the movies. I'm going to come up with these black and whites of Tony Altamori. I even got Gorgeous George coming up. Wait till we go downstairs. We're going to be in a big area. New boots. New editing, new spots, new help. We're going to have everything. And any of you people that want to get involved with my shows, Legends of Professional Wrestling, as well as the best of Empire Pro Wrestling. We got how many shows we got in the can. We got some ones you haven't seen yet. We're going to bring them out, no doubt. We're going to get settled for the year 2013 and get devoted. We're looking for people to come in to edit. I do the voiceovers. I do this and that. It's hard to do everything by yourself. I'm on the old time. Put the tape in, put the tape out. Bada bing, bada boom, forward. I'm learning it. I can drag it. I'm gonna get those things in the beginning, the transactions. But I'll get it down. It might take me 15 years or so, but I might get it. But we're gonna have some great new footage coming up. We got Lynn with Tony Atlas against Mr. Mike Nice. We got a battle royal with Mr. Lottery. We got a tag team champion with, I said, those two guys that are working up there at NWA on Fire up there in New Hampshire and Maine. Highlight Kid and Cash Money, the Hoods they're called, as well as Pyro, that little half pint, but he can go like a little son of a you know what. And then, of course, we got some bad news. I believe that the ladies champion has retired due to some injuries to her nose. So we're going to be putting that belt up, that ladies championship belt. We're going to have another tournament again. And Sexy Lexus is the #1 contender, so you know she'll be in it, along with all the other local lady wrestlers. There's not many around, but if we got to ship a couple in from Mexico or Puerto Rico or Canada, wherever it might be, if they allow us to do so with the budget of these fairs, We'll bring some great lady wrestlers in. I got Roxy Rox is back on the independent circuit, I believe. And who knows? The Boston Bad Girl might don the tights again. And she might want to beat on somebody. I'm sure she wants to get out some of her animosity. And again, we want to thank the Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown, that she had got the match from Japan, and a very, very extensive background that she has. You know, she worked for Killer Kowalski. She's still undefeated NWA champion, as well as the EPW undefeated ladies champion, so we had to have a tournament. But she is the undisputed champion in a lot of independent organizations, because there's really not much going on. Dennis Coraluzzo was down in New Jersey. He had passed away a few years back, and you got some of these promoters in New York, but there's not many independents going on. And if you see them, don't get switched up in them. I had Lashley at that show against Big Rick Fuller. Big Rick Fuller took a beating by Lashley. Didn't get the chop no one, but you see him in the ring against these 4'4" guys, and he chops them to death in the corner. Ed Lashley, no chops. What happened, Rick? You don't want to chop Ed Lashley? I guess not. With those hot dog arms, and he's kind of past it. You know, he had his time with WCW, was champion EPW for a long time. But I think it's time for him to get a job at McDonald's or landscaping, because he never really had it. You know, he's another one that could do it upstairs, but his motions. His best match I have on, I gotta say, CD, DVD. I got him on tape, converted to CDs, of course, but it was in Situate against Hercules Hernandez Jr. This guy, of course, I cut it up anyways. I made it look like a good match. You know, I put all the action with the action, and at that time we were doing tape to tape back with Gary and Rick over at the old studio, and I sort of chopped it up so it looked good. But I think you should have stayed as the lumberjack, you Gavone. You know Gavone, you're Zenzi. You should have stayed as the lumberjack. That's what you look like, the lumberjack, not a ponytail up here like Bam Bam, and you got your hair dyed and your shoulders busted. You can't do much in the ring, but hey, you had what you had. You made a couple of runs with WCW Monday night or whatever. You had a couple of runs. You got hurt by, I think, Tank Abbott or one of those big names that stretched you. Lex Luger. They put him in there with all the big names, you know. And one of them stretched him. I forget which one broke his shoulder or hurt his shoulder, but once you get a shoulder injury, and I'll tell you firsthand because I just had my AC joint done in February. You know, you're doing those bench presses and the Revere workout. Chest and arms, chest and arms, chest and arms. Basically, when you get to be my age, chest and arms isn't chest and arms anymore. You're just happy to, you know, be able to move them. And 315 behind the neck presses. I did 440 on the bench. No steroids, no nothing. And it's in the record book, the Revere Guinness Book of World Records. 440 actually was in Winthrop at Jimmy Slowy Sharp upstairs. We had the weights upstairs there, and we did 440 on the bench. The other kid did 430, and I had the high, so I guess I won that in. But these guys like the Road Warriors, they were doing 700, and then my other tag team partner that I believe is in the book still, I don't know, as a wrestler, he has a 710, I believe, bench press, Ted Arcidi. He's got a vitamin line up there in New Hampshire or Maine, or wherever he's up there in the woods. You got to buy 5 gallons of milk for the whole week. The stores are like 30 miles away, and I can't handle that wooded area. But Ted Arcidi, yeah, he was on one of my shows. We're going to get some of those matches with me and Ted as the Northeastern Tag Team Champions. I tagged with Ted Arcidi way back in the day when I was doing shows at the Annunciation Hall in Rosendale. That was Tony Rumble's spot. He was from that area, and he was still wrestling as the Dungeon Master. And we got a new wrestler coming out, too, a new wrestler. He's going to be known as the Dungeon Blaster, not the Dungeon Master. This kid is huge. He's going to be the Dungeon Blaster, and I got the trademark on that. And basically, the Boston Bad Boy name, we gave you many chances not to use it, but there's only one Boston Bad Boy, and I have the trademark on it. You want to go up and look on it up on the internet, look under the Boston Bad Boy, the trademark. Unfortunately, a particular person can't get it to his head, being that he's 4'4" and he's not even a real wrestler. But we'll do that with the legal ways, of course, getting back to the real Boston Bad Boy. And you know, I'm often imitated but never duplicated, not in this lifetime. and the SmackDowns, the Raws, that's entertainment now. The good old days of professional wrestling are gone. If you can remember the show when back in the Boston Garden years ago when Bruno Sammartino, he wrestled Gorilla Monsoon at the time, the Manchurian Giant. He was an AAA amateur wrestler as well, and he was a very knowledgeable, very smart man. Taking out stocks with the WWF was very smart back in the day. Because look at it now. I don't know if someone in his family got his stocks going on. Gino has passed away some years ago. And, of course, he was known as the man in the gorilla spot, which was the man that stands behind the curtain and says, come on, you're up next, let's go. But I'm sure they got it under control. I believe it's either the enforcer there, Mr. Anderson, is doing it now. I believe they got Arn Anderson or someone in the gorilla spot, and they got it all under control. And the writers aren't doing that great, but I do like those two girls that dance, those two African-American girls, especially when they go back-to-back and they go up there. And I told Tony Rumble when he became the Dungeon Master, I said, let me tell you something about wrestling. Wrestling is all about walking down the ramp. How do you think The Undertaker made it so long? His opening, his walkway to the ring, that's the whole thing. The people are looking at you. You're coming out to the dry smoke, the dry ice or whatever, the purple, the hat down. I told Tony, I said, Tony, listen, Mr. Mags. Just call him Mags. Just call him a lot of shit, but don't call him late for supper. But the whole deal was, I said, Tony, when you become the Dungeon Master, live the character for that 30 seconds you're walking down that ramp, or your entrance to the ring is your first appearance. They're looking at you, and it's just like anything else. These wrestlers are on the road, I'm going to say 340 days out of the 365. And back in the day, way back, I was doing shows on Sunday afternoon and then going to another place Sunday night. And I remember wrestling in Florida for the NWA. We'd do Fort Hesterly Armory at night. That morning you did TV, so you did TV in the morning. Then you did Fort Hesterly Armory that afternoon. Then it was back to Fort Lauderdale for me in the little rent-a-car. But these guys today, they're working fast, they're going this way, that way, up, down, all around. They're not registering. The guy that gets hit with the clothesline is up before the guy that hit him with the clothesline. I don't understand it. But if you got 24/7, you get a lot of old stuff, the 90s, the 80s. If you get the 24/7, they keep teasing on this new channel, but it's all going to be all the old stuff from 24/7 that the people that didn't order 24/7, unfortunately, I got like 5 packs of 50 rolls of discs, just the legends that have on there, the Legends show where they all sit and they talk about each wrestler. And then they have another show they call Classics, and then they have Classic Rewinds, and then big shows from Madison Square Garden. Those are the wrestling days. Those are my days. Those were the Bruno days. Madison Square Garden, Philly, all over the place. I mean, all up and down the Northeast. Now it's the TWA Center, the Dunkin' Donuts these big arenas, this and that. And it's all about the merchandise now anyways. The wrestling is secondhand. Your T-shirts change every time they go out. Look at John Cena. He's out on an injury right now, I believe. He got hurt at one of those pay-per-views. And I just got a bill from Comcast. I just went and paid a bill. You come back, you got another bill in the mail. It's wintertime. Otherwise, I go with DirecTV, but they don't have 24/7. Neither does that other thing there, the other show, the other satellite. And then in the winter, you got the trees, the wind, the snow, and then your TV goes out. So you know what? You're stuck with Comcast. I mean, what are you going to do? I bundled the phone, and I don't have a computer yet, but I got some people that are planning on training me and doing some stuff. I know I got to get a hard drive because I can drive it hard. I can do it all the way, and I'm going to get all my stuff on a hard drive. So maybe I can get a little more outlets and the stuff to YouTube. But they got some of my stuff on YouTube. The legendary Bruno Sammartino match against Ivan Koloff, 1971. That's on YouTube. You know my voice. It's only one voice like this. There's only one can do it like me. I can sing it. I can really work the mic, and I can really keep it tight. And I want to wish all you people here in Revere a happy recovery. If anyone had any problems with the water, I'm in a basement apartment. I was prepared, thank God, nothing came in. We had my furniture up on milk crates. So I had a good 4 inches anyway, so at least 6 inches or a foot off the ground. But this weather's crazy, crazy weather. Winter beach. I went down the beach after the storm. You got these guys on them surfing things, and they're surfing, and I don't know. It's crazy, but you got a strong upper bar, that air surfer, and you got the surfing going on. And then I took some snapshots of that new bridge. Guys like Zambuto and other counselors that are around that are doing a great job. To name them, I know all the names, but Zambuto, he did it all. Zambuto did it with the Ambasino. And we got a great, great town here. I hope it don't cause too much problem because they got to ban that skip day on Revere Beach because that's crazy. You got to have them banned. You can't let them come down on skip day. There was thousands of people there, all nationalities, all creeds, all problems. I hope that there's no problems because the Revere's been fair. Not too many killings. You know, a couple of things happened behind the schools, some, you know, this and that, but overall effect, there hasn't been that many killings and deaths. And, you know, go to Roxbury every night, someone killed, someone dead. Mr. Rizzo, we want to thank you for doing all the great things you're trying to do. Keep it going. It's a big, big job in any town, any city. Towns don't have mayors. Any city that has a mayor. The gentleman in Everett, he's doing a great job. I go over there at Honeydew and I see Joe. I holler out to Joe and my friend Andy, former cop here in Revere. He knows the old school ways. He's a great guy. And all these guys around, Mickey Casoli, I got to holler out to you. You must have been tied up today, but I'm going to tie you up the next time and put you in a wrist lock for not showing up. And basically, we're going to have Sean down from the cab place who picks up my wrestlers for me with his nice limos. Very busy on a conference call. And of course, I want you people to remember to watch us each and every week. Keep it complete. We're on Wednesday nights. Keep it tight. We're on from 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Loop it around, do it all over again on Saturday. That's right, the Legends of Pro Wrestling. You can see all the great legend shows we have. And this one here, we're talking about the belt. So if you want to, you know, you want a belt made up, I'll make you a belt. I'll make you a spaghetti champion. I'm going to make Serge the champion of the editing, and he does a great job. I've seen some of the stuff. I have seen some of the stuff. I saw some of the things going on down on the beach this year. And when you got the executive director filming for the society, the historical society, we're keeping the things going with the history of Revere. Some people that live in Revere now don't have a clue. They don't even know who Frank Sinatra is, let alone what town they're in, let alone what state they're in. Some of them are in a state of shock. But Revere Beach, I walked it all summer. It was a great summer, beautiful beach. And there was no real problems that I can see that went on. Revere Beach is beautiful. It was clean all year. They kept it nice and clean. The Sandcastles went over with great, great sponsors. And all the people down there had a great time. It's just a mazooka. No one's got no mazooka. You know, the economy's bad. You know, you got to really try to save your pennies these days because don't be buying these pay-per-views for 50 and 60 bucks. Go to 24/7, and they show you every pay-per-view. You can watch it match by match, or you can watch the whole show, and it only costs $10 a month. So wait a month or two or whatever. It's still going to come on. It's going to come on the 24/7. It's a great station. I like the Mid-Atlantic. I like the stuff from Stampede Wrestling up in Canada, when Bret Hart just started, when the Bushwhackers just started, all those old-time things. And like I said, they're doing one, I'm taping it right now as I'm sitting here, or copying it off the 24/7 with the unpredictable ending of the Ultimate Warrior's career. Well, he's on the internet talking about a certain class of people, and I really don't want to get on the subject because I don't want to talk about it, but he's saying this and that about certain people's lifestyle. But if you go back, way, way far back, and you go and you talk about the Ultimate Warrior, he was self-destructive, as you well know. And they had a show, that Big Time Wrestling. They didn't say he wasn't going to wrestle. They didn't say he was going to wrestle. So they watched it and they switched it. And we want to thank all our great sponsors. They are sponsors. Remember that. Sponsors are people that help out to keep it going. We had a great show, great can drive in Lynn at St. Michael's Hall. Watch us each and every week. Keep it complete. And we're going to do some great things in the future. So watch out for this studio because we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. and bigger and bigger and bigger. So remember, if you want to ride, if you want to keep it right, you want to ride a limo, call up Sean, get on down there, get in his vehicles. We want to thank everyone here at Revere TV, Mr. Dunbar, Sergio, the man that created the Legends of Pro Wrestling, Mr. Rick Promise. He's going to catch you with that 747 splash. I'm going to slam you and hit him off the ropes, and boom, 1, 2, 3. We want to thank you and see you next time on Legends of Professional Wrestling. Hey, this is Rocky Raymond, the Boston bad boy, the only bad boy here in Revere, the only international star here in Revere. That's right, I've been all over, Venezuela, Caracas, South America, Georgia, Charlotte, Florida, Puerto Rico, Canada, everywhere you want to go in New England, I've been there. New York, just like I pictured it. That's right, the only international star you got here in Revere. That's right, you remember the name, the Boston bad boy, Rocky Raymond. And let me tell you one other thing, you better be driving sober, or I'm going to pull you over.